In this video, I'll cover the various methods of defining and responding to mouse inputs in the Unity engine. Mouse input is a bit more complex than keyboard input, and it's often our primary way of interacting with objects in a 3D scene. In this video, we'll learn about projecting the mouse into the 3D world to get the position of the cursor in the world. There are some similarities shared with the keyboard input, as well as input options unique to the cursor. The Input Manager gives us a little bit more customization when it comes to mouse inputs. I suggest you fiddle around with these and see what they do. Again, you can access the values from the Input Manager using the input get access method. I'm not going to go into too much detail for this method of input, as I'm going to focus on the scripting side of things. Getting the mouse coordinates is pretty easy using the input class. It's simply stored under mouse position. Mouse position will give us the position of the mouse in screen coordinates, and the units are in pixels. The bottom left of the game window is at 0, 0, and the top right of the game window is the position screen width and screen height. These positions can go beyond these bounds if the game window is not the same size as the screen. Screen coordinates by themselves are mostly only good for interacting with GUI elements, interacting with a 2D scene, or determining the change in position of the mouse. Usually what we want to do is find out where the mouse is positioned inside the game world. In a 3D game, this is tricky. Since the mouse is only operating in 2 dimensions, it's hard to know how deep into the 3D world the mouse should be placed. There are some general approaches to determining the depth into the scene. The easiest is to provide an arbitrary depth into the scene. This is the distance from the camera, so it doesn't matter which direction the camera is facing, that depth will always be the same. Unity has a function called screen to world point. This will take a screen position and calculate the position in the game world. This screen position is all stuffed into a vector 3, where the screen position is represented by the x and y coordinates of the mouse position. The depth into the scene is stored in the z coordinate. Since the mouse position is always at screen level, its distance from the camera is always 0. So the z parameter returned from mouse position is always going to be 0. Providing screen to world point with a depth of 0 will always give us the position of the camera, no matter where the mouse is. This is true at least with the perspective camera. An orthogonal camera is different, but orthogonal cameras are not covered in this video. So here I'm going to provide a depth of 10 into the scene. So no matter where the camera faces, the object will always be 10 meters away at the mouse location. Let's see what this looks like. So here we see the object follows the mouse and is always 10 units away from the camera. Another way to determine depth into the scene is to cast a ray and see if it hits anything. And then we use the object that it hit as the depth into the scene. Let's change our code a little bit to use the new object depth function. This will take the screen position